My name is Danny Bruckbauer, and I am a ceramic artist based out of Fargo, North Dakota. Well, I think I took a class in when I was 9 or 10 or something and made this little turtle, and my mom still has that little pinch pot turtle. And when I was a junior in high school, I took a pottery class with Kathy Luther. We only had one wheel at my high school, and so each kid got one day of the entire semester to use the wheel. And Luther was like, "Oh, you're pretty good at this. You should keep doing this." I was like, "Oh, thanks. I like it. It's fun. I like doing this." So I kind of just got a little bit more serious about it, and I would ask her during my lunch breaks, during any of my study halls, after school, any time that I had free time, if I could just have the keys. She'd just give me the keys to the studio in the high school. So I'd go in there and I'd make pots. Practice, make new things. I kind of started selling pots actually when I was in high school too, just like coffee mugs for Christmas. Going around asking all the teachers and different students if they'd want to buy one or if their parents might want to buy one or something like that. And I went to St. John's University, majored in art. I had a focus in ceramics. Any chance that I get to be creative or different or seeing some new shape and just getting excited and going home and being able to take an idea that's just sitting in your head and turn it into a reality. I think that's the most exciting thing about it is, yeah, you're creating something beautiful from literally nothing. For me, with ceramics, this is just dirt. It's just dirt. That's all it is. I mean, the glaze is a little bit different. It's more than just dirt, and I can grab that from the ground and create something, anything that I want. The most beautiful thing that I can think of, I can make it out of that little nuisance. So that's super exciting to me. People ask me all the time what my favorite thing is to make, and I never have a good answer for them. My favorite thing to make is always a new thing. That's always my favorite thing to do, is just learning, really. Learning more every time that I sit down to make this stuff. So it's not so much I listen to music and I get inspired by it or something, but I look at the structure of a song, and sometimes I'll make vases that match that structure. I think about things sometimes where, with repetition, if I'm going to repeat this same curve in a vase 3 times, I might think of that like verses, and I might think of the cinched parts like choruses. So if the vase is like this, well, there's 2 parts where it's narrow and 3 parts where it comes wide. Well, now I think about those 3 parts as 3 verses and the 2 parts as a chorus. So I've got some colorful pots here, and those are a little bit older. Those are from my time at the Edina Art Center, actually, where I had endless glazes that I could use and endless firing possibilities. Right now I work out of a small studio in my basement, so I'm really just working with one glaze. Some of them are darker, so on these vases here there's some black underneath. I take a black stain and paint it on the paintbrush underneath. This has no glaze at all, that's just raw clay. The reason I do that is to give the user a bit more of a connection to the pot. They can feel that it was made from raw clay, they can feel that it was made by hand, they can see what raw clay really looks like. So sometimes I'll put finger marks in the bottom of pots. So I've got, just raw clay here. Really subtle design, but I'll strategically place my fingers when I dip it in, and so none of the glaze gets in that spot. So you have this really kind of crisp, clean, polished form, but then you also have these little pieces of me that are left behind in the pot. So little fingerprints here, or so it's a lot about experiencing the creation of the piece. I have some whiskey jugs over on the tall pedestal over there, and generally they come with whiskey cups. Those whiskey sets are named the Ellery whiskey set. They're named after my grandfather. So my grandpa had bought the first cup that I had ever made in this style. He bought the first one and he drank a glass of bourbon water out of it every night. He was still super witty, one-liners all the time. After that, I started making whiskey cups, calling them the Ellery whiskey cup, and then I started making whiskey sets. So I have whiskey jugs and 2 whiskey cups, or whiskey jug and 4 whiskey cups. I try to bring the viewer to understand the process, because that's what's important to me, really.